Hello, this is Manu here. A small request. Somebody requested me to do something music related again, and I got this idea. For I have been working now, and the place that I'm working is pretty far away. Not too far, but it will be like 1 hour of driving every day. So I'm staying at my parents' place for the summer, and here I have these CDs that I've been listening to some time ago. It's nice to look past and listen to what you have been listening and maybe relight the fire that once burned with these CDs and still is burning with some examples. So I put them on a pile here. They're on a chronological order. And shall we just dive into it? The first CD here, as you can see, is Yann Tiersen, Le Retrouvé. Sorry for my pronunciation. Yann Tiersen is most famous for being a composer. He composed the music for Amélie Poulain and the Buckley document, to name a few, and also one good German movie called Goodbye Lenin. And this album is really close to my heart because there's so many memorable songs there. And it sounds like the music from Amélie, and I really like that sound from Yann Tiersen. I also like some of his new rock stuff, but this is just more to my taste. It's more classical and more childlike in some songs. I want to name a couple of my favorite songs from here, but I really can't do it. They're quite short and I enjoy almost every one of them. Maybe why pick from this album would be the second song, which is called Kala, which is actually Finnish for fish. I'm sure it doesn't mean that in this case, but a funny fact for you. So after Yann Tiersen, I moved to Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, Tender Prey. This is something else. I usually don't listen to this kind of stuff, but Nick Cave really works for me. I can hear how depressed he can be, or in love, or what kind of drugs he has been in when he has done the songs. I'm not sure, but I think he was quite wasted when this album was released. It starts with my all-time favorite from him, called The Mercy Seat. And what makes Nick Cave special to me is his ability to really delve into the emotions. The Mercy Seat, it's about a guy who has been prosecuted and executed, and it's his last thoughts, and you can really hear how he is crying, and he doesn't know if he is even afraid to die or not, and if he is guilty or not. But other good songs there are Slowly Goes the Night, Watching Alice is pretty good as well, and Sunday Slave is pretty fun as well. After Nick Cave, I've moved to this peculiar case. It's called The Deer Hunter, Act 3, Life and Death. The Deer Hunter is an American band. It's the main guy behind The Deer Hunter, and who has also played most of the instruments, is called Casey Crescenzo. And I really adore his way of writing songs. There is so much complexity there, and it just flows in a really interesting and unique way. You can instantly say that this is the Deer Hunter. And even though he has a lot of different genres covered inside the act, there's still something that says that it's from Casey Crescenzo. What makes it peculiar is many things, actually. Because usually I don't like anything that's similar to emo music. But here you could say that, you could argue that Casey's voice is similar to some emo heavy bands. But somehow I don't feel that way with his music. Because the music it's like a story, a cinematic experience. And one other thing that's really cool, let me take these other CDs away, no spoilers, is that this is the Act 3. And it's a story of a man. And this is the third act of his life. And in this act, he goes to war, and a lot of bad stuff happens. So, this is a new kind of way to do music to me, to make it last the story for many albums. I'm sure a lot of bands have done that before, but this story has held the power for me. Here are the lyrics for the first song. And one other thing I love about this album is this great artwork. The booklet is done as postcards, and they look like authentic wall pictures. This is the second song on the album, the third one, the fourth, and so on. And they all look really cool. And it doesn't end there. There is also some Latin here and there in the album. And on the last where is it? Yeah, the last part of the booklet, there is a goat, and it's really cool because it tells about the Second World War, and they used a lot of coding back then. So you need to crack this by following these numbers to get to the like here it says 2, 4, 10. You have to go to the second song, fourth line, and 10th letter, for example. And so much effort was put into this package that I just adore it, and this is one reason why I buy these albums. I have to pick some of my favorites from here. I think my favorite is The Tank by far, because there is some awesome Middle Eastern riffs played with trombones, and then this beautiful live has one of the catchiest choruses, and it doesn't even have any lyrics in it, so I think that's kind of refreshing. But the songs are quite long and quite complex, really odd time signatures, but it just flows the story. After that, I took this one to listen. A very long engagement. Movie by Jean-Pierre Jeunet, who directed Amélie as well. And the music is by Angelo Badalamenti, who is maybe most famous for his music for the David Lynch series, Twin Peaks. And yeah, there's not too much to say about this album. It has a lot of memorable classical songs, and it really holds up to the 19th century classical leitmotifs, and characters have their own distinctive melodies. And yeah, overall it's a really nice listen. If you haven't seen the movie, I suggest you to watch it. You can't go really badly wrong with Jean-Pierre Jeunet movies. After that one, I actually had one Noir Désir album here, but I just don't know anymore where I put it. I guess it's somewhere in my car. But then I moved to a classic, Jeff Buckley's Craze. This is a really good album. I just love it. In all honesty, Jeff Buckley is, for me, the only artist that I wish would have lived longer. In a selfish way, of course. Because all the others from the 27 Club, they had a really big, well, not all, but they were known a lot. They were praised a lot. They had many songs already recorded, for example like Jimi Hendrix or Janis Joplin. But Jeff Buckley really had only this album. He had some other songs as well, and there's another CD as well, but this is, to me, only proper album from Jeff Buckley. And his voice is so unique and so good that I just wish that there would be more songs to utilize his voice. And I've heard that he had some ideas to make duets with Robert Pattinson, for example, or something like that. But yeah, so overall this is a really solid album with some rock tunes and some more ambience like and guitar songs, most famously Hallelujah, which is not his original, but he has made a very legendary cover of it. But I think my favorite from this is Lover, You Should Have Come Over, and after that Corpus Christi Carol, and then Dream Brother. He really uses his voice in a cool way that I haven't heard in other artists. He has a really wide range, and the tone is something out of this world sometimes. Whoa, that's a sneak peek to the last one actually. So here it is. A lot of emotions, pure emotions, sadness, and a musical genius at work. So if you haven't heard this album, I suggest that you should listen to it. It's quite sad, but it doesn't make me sad. It just makes me to be in awe of his talent. Now we come to these last two ones. Here we have Ayreon, Universal Migrator Part 1 and 2. This is a space rock album by Arjen Lucassen, Dutch progressive rock genius. So this is pure space progressive rock. It's about a man who goes into some kind of time, I don't remember the name, but some kind of time vessel, and it's presumably the last man in existence, and he goes back in time to watch the history of mankind and the earth. And on the part 2 he goes way beyond, and almost, I guess all songs feature a different singer, which is really, well, unique in mainstream music, but it's really common with Arjen Lucassen because he uses a lot of features in his albums. The part 1 is maybe my favorite from Ayreon because it includes so many good guitar solos and a lot of, hey, more the series here, a lot of emotions and interesting stories, cheesy lyrics, but what do you expect from sci-fi rock? So the man starts in the dream sequence, then he goes to his house on Mars, and then to the year 2084 when something bad happened to Earth, and then to one small step, the day July 69 when the moon landing happened, the first one. And then to this Rembrandt painting, you're not gonna see it well, but this Rembrandt painting, I believe it's called Night Watch, and the shooting company of Captain Franz Peacock. Dragon on the Sea, it goes past Temple of the Cat and the druids, all these medieval times, and then to the first man on Earth, which is ironically sung by Neil Morse, who turned religious after this album. And the second part is a heavy album, while the first one is not that heavy. And it includes many famous singers like Timo Kotipelto from Stratovarius, Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden, to name a few. But overall the first one is my favorite, even though this second one has awesome songs as well. It's always interesting to put this place. Here we go. And then last but not the least, my ultimate guilty pleasure album, even though I don't like that term. Root Box, Robbie Williams. Now this one has everything. it has some 80s dance pop, 90s pop, some early 2000 electronic stuff, and then maybe some quite modern pieces that work with new electronic standards. It's overly produced, really weird. Sometimes I feel like Robbie Williams has been the white version of Kanye West. One interesting fact from this album is that it includes Lily Allen as a guest vocalist on many songs. She wasn't that known at the time, but after this one she got quite famous. And I think my favorites are Rude Box, and then Love Light, which sounds very Justin Timberlake-like, and then the Manu cover Banga Bang, and Je ne t'aime plus. And then there's a really interesting song called Where the Pet Shop Boys, which features, you guessed it, Pet Shop Boys. It sounds more like it's a Pet Shop Boys song featuring Robbie Williams, which is rather interesting as it is a Robbie Williams CD. And probably my favorite one, and even though it's a really cheesy one, is The 80s, which tells about Robbie Williams' childhood in the 80s. But yeah, it's a long CD with some bad songs and some good songs, but it really gives you the energy you need when you drive to work. So thank you for watching this video. I hope it was to your liking, and if you like this kind of videos where I don't show my face that much, I could be up for doing them in the future, as I still have a lot of CDs to cover in many genres. And I hope you can even find some new songs and bands to listen to through these. But until next time, it's bye bye from me. I love you.